Steve.
Yes?
Something I have to bring up with you. Somebody saw you, I'm not going to say who, but I have it on good authority that you've been seen using a commercial salad dressing on our show. Now, I refuse to believe this. Absolutely not, I said. But I just happened to be looking in the bin, and guess what I found?
Guilty.
Steve, you know that we agreed that everything made on this show would be made from scratch.
Karl, we're only making dinner, not rocket engines, and there's nothing wrong with using a good quality commercial product.
Really?
To save time.
Really?
Really?
Well, I think we're going to have to lay our salad dressings on the table and have a serious discussion about this.
Bring it on.
I will after this.
Yum, yum, yum. Yum, yum, yum. Yum, yum. Yum, yum. Yum, yum.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of One Chef One Critic. I'm Karl Wells, food critic for The Telegraph.
And I'm Chef Steve Watson of Central Dairies.
Well, Stephen, let's have at it. Why are you so hepped up about these commercial salad dressings? Are they really all that good?
Absolutely, Karl. They are a North American thing, because in Europe it's usually just oil and vinegar. But there's nothing wrong with these dressings. What I would do, I'd look for a good quality one, check see if it's got some olive oil in there and things like that, and it doesn't have any MSG, that's the chemicals, and it's going to give you headaches and stuff like that. With some of the dressings, you'll notice that they do split. You've got the oil on the top and the ingredients in the bottom. If you want to thicken them up, I would just add a little bit of Dijon mustard, whisk it up, and it would emulsify it.
Okay, well, if it's all the same, I'm going to stick with my oil and vinegar.
Okay.
We'll have to agree to disagree on this one, Mr.
That would
Watson.
be a first.
Well, coming up on the show today is Bill Parsons. Bill is the Chief Executive Officer of High Engineering Corporation, and they specialize in something called fall protection. And they're all about teaching people how to not fall off tall buildings and high towers, that sort of thing. What are we going to be cooking with Bill today?
We're going to be making some Cornish pasties.
I love Cornish pasties, real good pub food. And Chef Shaun Hussey of Chinched restaurant's going to be here, and he's going to show us how to make something called charcuterie. So stick around. For a complete listing of One Chef One Critic recipes, wine lists, and more, check out our website. Let us know what you think of the show at 757-9600. And we are back with my good friend Bill Parsons, who is the CEO of High Engineering Corporation. Welcome, William.
Thank you.
You know, I was just thinking that of all the people we've had on the show, you should really know how this one works, because I think you probably watched all 120 episodes or whatever.
I'm not keeping count, but I'd say we're close. Yeah.
That's right. Anyway, what are we going to be making for Bill today?
Well, Bill, what we're going to be making is some traditional pub food from over the pond, so to speak. We're going to be making some Cornish pasties. So I think we'll get started, and I've got some beautiful diced beef here. We'll get the pan here. I'm going to get you to stir and all that kind of good stuff, and you can pop that beef into there. And
So
away we go.
that's raw.
That's raw beef. Yeah. We're going to
Okay.
saute that off with some onions, some mixed vegetables,
Good
and
stuff.
potatoes.
Okay, and I'm going to be making a salad in the salad bowl.
Oh, there you go.
It's right on the bowl.
Yeah, perfect.
Salad bowl.
You put a little bit of seasoning in there as well, Bill, once you get going. Okay.
So, Bill, a while back, Parsons Engineering, which was the family's company, merged with another company in Calgary, Alberta, and now you're known as High Engineering Corporation.
That's right.
That must have been an exciting thing for you.
It was great fun, Karl, and I got started in fall protection a little bit more than 15 years ago, and I learned a lot of the engineering techniques from a guy named Greg Small, who's in Calgary, and after working informally together for about almost 15 years, early in 2014, we said we should put the companies together. So we did.
That's great.
And we're having a great time.
Now, you say fall protection.
Yes.
I alluded to what it was all about at the top of the show, but maybe you could just flesh that out a little bit more for us.
Yeah, well, we've got situations all over the world where workers have to work at height, and they're subjected to a hazard that involves falling from where they're working.
Of course. Yeah.
So we design, engineer, and commission, inspect, and do all kinds of things with the systems and the procedures and the training that those workers need and use to protect themselves from those falls.
Yeah. And it reminds me of my Uncle Art in New York, who's passed on, but he worked during the Depression. He worked on what they call high steel.
Right.
He helped build skyscrapers, and they went up there and there's that famous photograph, of of some of them apparently were Newfoundlanders sitting on that steel beam high above the streets of New York City with no harnesses, no protection on whatsoever. It's hard to believe that people actually did that back in those days, and a lot of people did lose their lives. In fact, they fell off those buildings.
They did.
So it's great that we've got somebody like you showing people how to not have that happen.
Right. Thanks. Well, thanks for that. We enjoy the work. I mean, there's a certain community involvement that goes with it, and we're engaged with the workforce to make sure that they're able to protect themselves every day. And it's interesting, I got started in fall protection because my family was also in the steel business here in Newfoundland.
Right.
And we had to find ways to protect our own crews at height. So this is how I got started. And in the process of educating myself, we realized we could help lots of other people in addition to ourselves. And so that's how we got going, and we made a business out of it.
Now, you talked about community. I saw a gentleman who lives not far from me, and he was working on his shed in his backyard, his building, just re-roofing it, so to speak. He's about 6 feet off the ground. Is he covered, or if he falls off, or what's the difference between that and industrial?
Well, certainly gravity works no matter whether you're at work or not, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But in the meantime, the workers are subjected to the occupational health and safety rules, and that's the impetus that we get in Canada, particularly, for having to provide these protections. When you're working at home, you're not subject to the Act.
Okay.
So you can pretty much do as you like.
So I can bring my buddies
But I'm
over,
going to
can I?
tell you that gravity still works. So you should take measures to protect yourself just the same. But lots of folks don't, in fact.
No.
And it goes back to really being aware of
Safety
what you're
first.
doing and being aware of what risks you're exposing yourself to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very good.
Even if you're not at work.
No, indeed not. Yeah.
Now, Bill, knowing you so well, I know that you literally travel all over the world doing this work. Who are some of the people who hire you?
Well, we've done work for lots of small companies, but we've also done work for big companies, like 3M, for example.
Yep.
That's the sticky note people, among
right.
many other things. And we also do work for the railroads, CP Rail among them. And locally, we've done a lot of work for various contractors working, for example, in industrial projects like the Long Harbour project. And also, we've done work for many years. We're very proud to say that we work for Newfoundland Labrador Hydro as well.
Oh,
we've got a
excellent.
great relationship with them.
So I guess that's what, I know you go to Labrador quite often, so I guess is that who you're working for up there? Or?
A lot of the time, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the privileges of working for Hydro is that you get to travel around to all these nooks and crannies of the province, and I've had the privilege to do that and learn a lot about our home province in a way that I mightn't have otherwise been able to do before. So that's been very exciting.
That's right.
So you don't just work out of the office, you're actually hands-on in the field and...
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I like to put myself, I'm an industrial engineer by trade, so that has to do with human factors. So I like to put myself in the worker's position in the process of designing the systems and procedures that they're going to use.
Yeah.
You know, if I got to be prepared, I want to be able to look the guy in the face and say, I did it too.
Yeah. Not who is this guy? What does he know?
That's
kind
right.
of a thing.
Who's this lunatic engineer who came to see me? That's right.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what we've got there, Bill, then we've sauteed our beef off. I put some potatoes in there. We put some onions in there, and a medley of vegetables in there. We've got some peas, some carrots, and some beans and things like that. We're just going to let that sweat for another couple of minutes or so, and then I'm going to be putting it into. I've got some short pastry here that my wife Pat made, so I can't take the credit for making the pastry. And I've made that into the size of a plate. We're going to be putting that mixture in the centre. I'll put a little bit of olive oil around and crimp it together, and then bake it in the oven.
Sounds brilliant.
Yeah.
So, Bill, you and I went to Prince of Wales Collegiate. I went quite a few years before you.
One or two. Yeah.
But
Yeah, bring it on.
you and I, Rick Mercer's an acquaintance of ours, but
Yes.
you actually went to school with Rick.
Rick and I were the same year, right from grade 1 at McDonald Drive and up through Prince of
And
Wales.
so, was he kind of the class clown in school?
No, I wouldn't say that he was. He was. You could tell he was a creative guy. We look back on it now. You know, the teachers didn't always appreciate it, and so it occasionally caused him some grief. But I'll tell you, when we got to Prince of Wales, he found his legs. There was a great theatre program. We had the most wonderful cohort of teachers there at that time. The principal was a guy named Clyde Flight, which many of the viewers I'm sure would remember. And
Yeah, Clyde actually taught at United Junior High when I was at United Junior High.
so you'd remember him
Yeah,
for sure. He's
that's
a great guy, and we had, like I said, we had a super
take
cohort
some
of
out,
teachers, and one of the things that was great about Prince of Wales is that they had really great clubs and different things you could do. And Rick really found his legs in theatre and theatre arts at Prince of Wales, and I think it really set the stage for him to do what he does today.
Yeah.
So.
Now, after high school, you went to the Royal Military College of Canada up in Kingston there. Why did you do that?
I was involved with the Air Cadets, which is it was a super youth program that still goes today. I was a member of 508 Air Cadet Squadron here in St. John's, and I learned to fly airplanes with them, and I really loved what it was and had a real affinity for the military, and so I decided that I wanted to do that as a career, and so I applied to go to the Royal Military College and went there right out of high school.
Yeah, and you had some interesting instructors, some high-profile people involved at that time.
We did. We had the commandant of the college at that time was General Romeo Dallaire, who's now a senator.
Yeah.
And he was just a tremendous guy. He was a great commandant for the space. Yeah. And the school principal was Roch Carrier, who wrote the hockey sweater story that everybody knows really well.
Right.
So, and one of my favorite memories of the college, you think of it as a very military place, and it was. Yeah. But one of my favorite memories of the college was just before Christmas each year, Roch Carrier would sit on the stage, we'd all get in the auditorium, and he would tell us the story of the hockey sweater.
Wow.
In both French, en français, and in English as well.
That is really cool.
Yeah, it was great. Really, it was a great experience,
cool. Yeah. Anyway, I'm just going to finish this off, spritz this with some salt and pepper. Steve, you can add some vinegar.
I will do, yes, indeed I will.
And I'm going to head to the wine cellar and get a bottle of wine to go with this, okay?
Go for it.
Perfect. As you see, Bill, we've got one there already made, but if you would like to step to the side there, by the oven, and I will bring out our pièce de résistance. Aha! And there we have our 4 beautiful Cornish pasties.
Brilliant.
Because I know Karl will probably want an extra one.
Hey, Jeremy.
Hey, Karl. How are you?
Great to see you.
Good to see you.
Well, I think I've got an easy recipe for you today. It's
nice.
Cornish pasties. It's kind of like an English meat pie.
Okay.
Lots of pastry, lots of beef and beefy flavors. There's, beef stock in it. Very little in the way of seasoning, though, apart from the regular, onion, garlic, Worcestershire sauce, that sort of thing.
Pretty classic.
So, what do you think?
Well, that being said, for it being sort of a mild dish, we're going to go something with a little bit more weight and structure and fruit to it. Maybe give a little bit of that spice note from the wine more so than the beef. So 3 different selections here. Start off with Juan Gil. This is 100% Monastrell from Humila in Spain. And Monastrell is also known as Mourvedre. So it's that grape, a blending grape in France. Dark, inky colored, a lot of fruit, a lot of viscosity, full bodied, a little bit of spicy peppery note to it as well. It's beautiful, and I think it'll work great with that. Not to be outdone though, Edizione Reserva. This is a blend of different varietals from Italy, and it's from 2 different areas, Puglia and Abruzzo, and he blends Malvasia Nero, Primitivo, Sangiovese, Montepulciano. This is a huge undertaking for this guy because he's sourcing all these grapes from different areas, but the blend is this beautiful thing, very berry, sort of blueberry flavor at the beginning, a lot of structure, a lot of weight, but then the finish is really elegant and soft because you have some things like Primitivo, which is Zinfandel, which gives you all that sort of big fruit, but then you also have Sangiovese, which gives you a lot of acidity, so it kind of balances it out and makes a really nice, elegant wine.
Yeah, I think some people are under the impression that if it's a single varietal, that's the best one you can get, and that the blends are maybe not quite so good, but actually a blend can be quite a
Well, you can do a lot
wine.
of things with maybe that one grape that's kind of one-dimensional. You can add sort of different layers to it with a blend. Another blend that we're going to do from Canada, Stratus. This is Stratus Red. Basically, these guys are one of the top blending producers in Canada and in Niagara for sure, and doing Bordeaux-style blends. They started out just doing white and red. Now they do a bunch of different varietals, but this one is, you're looking at Cab, Merlot, Cab Franc. Very traditional Bordeaux. The winemaker is actually from Bordeaux originally. And yeah, this will be full-bodied, but that Bordeaux style, very elegant and,
Well, I'm going to go with this one because of the blends. I'm really curious to see what the Edizione tastes like. Thanks, Jeremy.
Excellent. My pleasure.
Okay, we'll just add our Cornish pasty to that wonderful green salad now, and what wonderful pub food. And let's go and see if Bill has stopped Karl from going over the edge.
There we are. Boy, those pasties, having been in the oven now and come out, they look absolutely brilliant.
Smells great.
I've got to cut into it, and I guess we're going to have to let your wife know whether her pastry worked out.
Absolutely. Only good and hot.
Oh my goodness. That is extraordinary.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Patricia Watson. and congratulations to all of us. Bill, I just wanted to ask you a follow-up question to your experience with the Royal Military College. What did you take from that education?
I think two big things that serve me every day in my business life particularly, and it's the leadership skills about how to organize a team and be a real team guy, which we try to be every day with our team. And I have to say, we've got a super team right across the whole organization, and I'm very proud of all of them.
Excellent.
The other thing is about perseverance, to really, that stick-with-itness, to really, sometimes things don't always go your way, and you just got to persevere and keep going. And I know I keep
track, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Norman Vincent Peale in Power of Positive Thinking said, act like it's impossible to fail, and that's what we do every day.
That's great advice. Now, I know that you're a company that likes to give back to the community, and you've been involved in a number of community initiatives over the years. One of them is the motorcycle ride for Dad. Your mom and dad are bikers, I know that, and you're a biker. So just tell us about the motorcycle ride for Dad.
The Motorcycle Ride for Dad is a community event. It goes every year in the middle of June. It raises funds for two things. One is awareness around prostate cancer issues. We want to get guys of a certain age, over the age of 40, to get checked regularly. Many guys over the age of 40 don't, because they feel maybe that the process is a little embarrassing or what have you. But it's important to get it done.
Absolutely.
Every year for sure, and on the advice of your doctor. And the other thing is, we raise money for research. And it funds research locally to the tune of about $70,000 a year. And in the last couple of years, we've had some real breakthroughs here at Memorial University on the genome and what have you of prostate cancer things. So we're seeing real progress on this front. So, you know, we're really proud of that, and we see 600 or 700 bikers come out to Newfoundland Power parking lot there on that day in the middle of June, and it's a really remarkable thing. It's a really remarkable thing. We're very proud to be part of it.
I know another group that's near and dear to your heart is Cannispokum Chamber Choir, and you're a member of that choir, and you've done a lot of traveling over the years with the choir, and of course with your work. What country has impressed you the most?
Well, we've traveled with the choir all over Europe, and it's a wonderful place. We see lots of great architecture and culture that we don't always see in the New World. We had occasion a couple of years ago to do a really great little project in the United Arab Emirates. And it was a remarkable little thing for me to do. The country itself is undergoing such explosive growth. It's an emerging place in a way like I've never seen, and yet it has this real old world traditions in the background of it. It's a really remarkable place to be.
Bill, we could go on talking forever, but unfortunately we've run out of time. But thank you very much for being on the show.
My pleasure.
Bill Parsons of High Engineering Corporation, and we will be back with Chef Shaun Hussey of Chinched after this. Chinched on Queen Street has steadily been building customers and a fiercely loyal clientele since it opened back in 2010. Now, although the atmosphere is very laid back at Chinched, the food is anything but. This restaurant produces some of the finest high-end cuisine in Newfoundland and Labrador. And we're delighted to have executive chef Shaun Hussey with us today. Hi, Shaun.
Hello.
And what are we going to be showing folks today?
Well,
looks interesting.
Most people know Chinched is pretty well known for charcuterie. So,
What is charcuterie, Shaun?
charcuterie is the art of curing, smoking, salting, and sausage making.
So what are you doing now? You're taking
So what we're going to do here today is we're going to cure a pork tenderloin. In the end, the product will be called filetto. So what I'm doing here is just cleaning up the loin. So going to take off as much of this silver skin as possible. You don't really want that. It's going to end up, if you intensify that, in the cure, it's going to be fairly tough.
Tough. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
So again, this is a whole muscle cure. So what we're going to do here now is that it's cleaned up. This is good, just like this. We're going to cure it in the method of salt box or sandbox cure. So basically, we got I say about a quarter cup of sugar, a quarter cup of coarse kosher salt, and then this is just a little spice mix, a little toasted peppercorn, bay leaf, chili flakes. I'm going to add this in here. Just going to mix it together fairly well here.
So this is a dry sort of curing
Yeah,
method,
it's a
eh?
dry cure. It's going to break these bay leaves up here.
Yeah. What does the sugar give apart from a sweetness?
Well, sugar, like salt, is a cure agent as well. So
okay.
you could cure completely in sugar. Of course, the salt is going to add that saltiness that people
And it's gonna draw
associate.
the moisture out
right,
as
and
well,
sugar will
correct?
do the
Yeah.
same. Yeah, but
Yeah,
what they
yeah.
call hygroscopic, right? So we're just going to again, this is the salt box or sandbox method. We're just going to dredge the loin in here.
Now, all the pork that you get at the restaurant, is it local pork or do you bring it here?
Everything we use for charcuterie is local pork. So, and local is placentia.
Placentia,
would be
okay,
where
yeah,
it's coming
yeah,
from.
yeah.
So yeah, we're just going to drag this loin through until it sticks as much as you can on there. You don't need to like pack it in the salt. It's not necessary. So then when it's this like this, then we're going to wrap it real good and press it for a day or two, depending on the size. Usually standard is 1 day per 1,000 grams.
Okay.
So that could be a ham or the loin.
Right.
So usually, 8 pounds of weight.
Yeah,
Or like
yeah.
we use like a number 10 can of tomatoes. So like a large
Yeah.
can.
Okay, that would be enough, would it? Yeah.
Exactly. So then
So
you're gonna
what does the pressing do? It just
yeah,
forces out the moisture?
exactly. So you're going to try to force out as much liquid as you possibly can here in a couple days
Yeah.
without turning it into a total brick, because it will eventually become that hard that you wouldn't
Yeah,
be able to
it'd be
slice it.
impossible to-
Exactly. So from here, we're going to just take this, wrap it up real tight, weigh it, and then leave it for a couple days. Maybe flip it in between the 2 days, and once
Why
that-
would you wear it? Why would you weigh it?
so once it comes out of the cure, we're going to weigh it and take its weight. So when you hang this and let it dry in your chamber, you're going to be looking for, in the end, a 30% weight loss of water.
All right.
So when you say chamber, what does that mean?
Okay, so the chamber is basically where we hang all the meats. And what it is it's cleaned, very clean, something you can wipe down or whatever, very easy to clean. And it's controlled temperature.
Okay.
Ideal for hanging dry aging, 8 to 15 Celsius is your range.
Okay.
And then humidity controlled as well, 65 to 75% humidity.
We could do that in our wine cellar. So what you-
Actually, wine cellar is perfect.
what you end up with here is this, right?
So after 2 months,
Yeah.
we end up with this, and you can see the shrinkage in
Okay.
comparison to the original.
Well, listen, Shaun, thanks for being on the show today. It was excellent having
it's
you.
great to
And
be here.
folks, that's it for this edition of
One chef.
One Critic.
And this is, of course, very popular. People come to the restaurants and everything.
Oh,
I'm going to taste this one.
These are definitely one of our most popular things. We do the boards, usually 4 or 5 different types. We can add, our house-made prosciutto to the boards. We also do combinations, cheese with them as well. Very popular, very popular.
I'm getting a little licorice.
Yeah, there most likely was fennel seed in the
Okay,
cure,
yeah.
or maybe star anise or something like that.
Excellent.
It's kind of you don't really remember after it's been hanging for 2 months.
Well, I see we're going to have to lay our salad dressings on the table and have a serious discussion about this.